Arvind Kejriwal has a very deep connect with the people of Delhi. And the people of Delhi, they actually feel, and especially the poor people of Delhi, the lower middle class of Delhi. I mean, they actually feel that he is one of them, that he understands them, that he understands their concerns. He understands what makes it difficult to run a family for a poor, for a lower middle class segment of society. Why this Revadi par charcha, right? Because one of the criticisms we face, this is one thing that the BJP really attacks us on and says again and again, Kejriwal free ki Revadi baanta hai, Kejriwal free ki Revadi baanta hai. So in some ways we are taking that head on. जैसे कहते हैं ना, हम चौड़े होके कह रहे हैं कि हाँ हम रेवड़ी बांटते हैं. Akash, I am the Chief Minister of Delhi. I am a 43-year-old woman from no political background. If I was in any other political party, I can bet on the fact in any other political party I would not even get a ticket to contest an election.
We have with us Atishi, the Chief Minister of Delhi. I don't think she needs an introduction, so I'll do with that. Atishi, if there's anything that you would like to begin with, some opening remarks if you want to make.
You go ahead.
We'll just start. Right now I think the biggest question on everyone's mind, and we've had one of the worst spells of pollution that the city has seen in at least 5 to 6 years. We've had 5 continuous days of very, very, severely polluted air. During all of this time, there have been questions about what exactly has been done and what has the Delhi government tried to do to effectively counter this problem. There has been talk about Parali, there's been talk about vehicular pollution. So if you could just tell us, a few things that Delhi has done to, have a very significant impact that you thought would happen and has not worked out perhaps because we've back to square one in this season.
See, I think first of all the thing we need to understand is that there is a problem with this question. It is not Delhi that has faced a severe spell of pollution. It is all of North India that has faced a severe spell of pollution. Just because we live in Delhi, just because or we work in NCR, we conflate our point of work and residence with the problem that exists across all of North India, right? If the problem was only in Delhi, then Bikaner would not have severe levels of air pollution. If the problem was only in Delhi, Patna wouldn't have very high AQI levels. If the problem was only in Delhi, then Gwalior wouldn't be one of the most polluted cities, not just in India, but across the world. So this problem spans Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, right up to Bihar. So the entire Indo-Gangetic plain, all of North India, parts of Central India, are reeling under this pollution crisis at the time, right? So first of all, we need to understand that when we ask the question about air pollution in Delhi, we make it seem as if the problem is only in Delhi. I would go as far as saying that all of North India is facing a medical emergency. And if we are facing a national medical emergency, a national response is required to it. Now at this point of time, I can tell you from anecdotal evidence. I have people calling me up, especially, I'm also an MLA. So people from my own constituency, from my own local area, would be calling me in the middle of the night saying that our grandmother has fallen very sick. We need to admit her to the hospital. A few days back, I got a call from someone in the middle of the night saying that their 5-year-old was not able to breathe and therefore they wanted to know what chemist shop would be open at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. to help them get a steroid inhaler. I mean, it's a medical emergency. Now, to say what has Delhi government done is almost like asking, when there was a COVID pandemic, did different states impose different lockdowns? Did the central government say Delhi will impose its lockdown, Madhya Pradesh will impose its own lockdown, Bihar will impose its own lockdown? It was a national medical emergency and a national response came forward. The problem with our the entire narrative on this pollution issue, our entire analysis of the pollution issue is that we are all, because we happen to sit in Delhi, because we happen to live in Delhi, we think it's a Delhi only problem. No, it's not. And therefore, when we realize and we understand it's a national problem, a national response is needed. Now, what amazes me in all of this, and I don't intend to start by just taking a jibe at the media, why is no one asking any questions of the national government? Let me tell you what Delhi government has done, but let me also tell you that is not going to change what happens in the winter every year. Whatever we have done. And I actually believe we have been very successful, because if you were to see multiple number of studies, one done by CSE a few years ago, one done by IIT Delhi recently, show actually that the local pollution in Delhi has decreased. We have the highest number of new cars that are getting registered as electric cars. You cross the road from Delhi into UP. Anand Vihar is considered as the hotspot of pollution in Delhi. You know what is a major source of pollution in Anand Vihar? The Kaushambi bus station that is just across the road, where all buses are diesel buses, right? So Delhi can change its buses to electric, change its cars to electric, get rid of the brick kilns, get rid of its thermal power plants, change all industries in Delhi now operate on PNG, right? You go outside of Delhi and see the kinds of polluting fuel that are being used in industries. So what we need to understand is Delhi acting on its own, even when we reduce the pollution, is not going to be enough. And therefore, unless we understand that it's a national problem, we begin to question the people responsible for solving the national problem, that any steps on this will even begin to be taken. I mean, I really want to challenge the central government on this, whether they can even name one thing they have done to stop stubble burning, which pollutes this entire stretch of North India in the winters. In the last 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. So what have they done?
You're saying that there should be a national response.
Yes, absolutely.
So, and you also mentioned, you gave examples of how, you gave the example of the lockdown. So what do you think, I mean, because there are cities in China, for example, that do go into lockdowns. What, if not that, or if that also, what are the other things that you think the centre should do?
See, I think the major reason why farmers burn stubble is financial. It is cheaper to burn stubble than to do anything else with it. Basically, stubble burning has started after this combined harvester have started being used. Now that leaves a larger stubble after the rice is harvested. There's a very limited amount of time till the wheat has to be planted for the winters. At this point of time, the cheapest thing to do with the stubble is to burn it. Any other mechanism, using manual labor, using other machines, etc., is expensive. So unless cash incentives are given to the farmers, nothing else is going to work. In fact, we had made a central government a proposal, in fact, as far as Punjab was concerned. We had said that, we had made a calculation, I forget the exact numbers, where we had said that 1/4 will be paid by government of Punjab, 1/4 government of Delhi will pay, because we get affected by the stubble burning. But the government of India should foot 1/2 of the bill, even if they foot 1/3 of the bill. But the government of India, has never responded on that proposal number 1, and has never taken any initiative.
This election, which we are on it's just about to be announced, this is unlike any other election that the Aam Aadmi Party has contested in Delhi, because over the last 2 terms, it was a complete revolution, which, it's a people's revolution that it came out of as well. Then there was still a novelty factor, more or less. Now, however, there's 10 years of anti-incumbency that is staring in the face. And more so with Mr. Kejriwal having stepped down. The party has at its core him and his image of staunch honesty, anti-corruption. So, what do you think the challenges are for you, given these factors? The fact that Mr. Kejriwal is not actually at the core of the campaign, number one, and secondly, there's anti-incumbency.
So, first of all, I think that Mr. Kejriwal is very much at the core of the campaign. And he will definitely be at the core of the campaign. He is the leader of Aam Aadmi Party. He is the face of Aam Aadmi Party. And the people of Delhi love him. Right? I remember when he got arrested in different parts of the city, women would just walk up to me or whenever we were in any part of the city and say कि केजरीवाल को कब बाहर ला रहे हो? They would say कि I remember when there was a phase when he was not getting insulin when he was in Tihar, and it was Hanuman Jayanti and I had gone for a program in a Hanuman temple, and there was this group of women who said केजरीवाल को आज इंसुलिन मिल गई, हमने प्रसाद चढ़ाया है. So I know people who actually, especially women, older women, who cried when he got arrested, who kept fasts, who prayed for him. So you have to understand that Arvind Kejriwal has a very deep connect with the people of Delhi. And the people of Delhi, they actually feel, and especially the poor people of Delhi, the lower middle class of Delhi, I mean, they actually feel that he is one of them, that he understands them, that he understands their concerns. He understands what makes it difficult to run a family for a poor, for a lower middle class segment of society. So I think that you have to understand will always be the core of the campaign also, and the very core of politics of Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi is the connection of Arvind Kejriwal to the people of Delhi and vice versa. The interaction that he has, I have never seen anything like it. I mean, when politicians go amongst people, there's always these distances, barricades, etc. But the way that people of Delhi hug him, hold him, आशीर्वाद देते हैं, सिर पे हाथ रखते हैं. So it's a very different kind of connect that he has. So that is number one. Number two, yes, definitely there are challenges, especially there are challenges because this has been a very difficult phase for Aam Aadmi Party. For the last 2 years, the kind of attack that Aam Aadmi Party has faced, for a party to have all of its senior leadership in jail. There was a time when Arvind Kejriwal was in custody, Manish Sisodia was in custody, Sanjay Singh was in custody, Satyendra Jain was in custody, Mr. Kejriwal PS Vibha was in custody, our party's media in charge Vijay Nair was in custody. This kind of onslaught has never been faced by any political party. Right? So it is a fact that for 1.5 years there has been why was Arvind Kejriwal arrested? Why was Manish Sisodia arrested? Why was Satyendra Jain arrested? Basically to try and put a stop to what the Aam Aadmi Party government was doing in Delhi. Right? Otherwise, court after court, court after court has commented on the fact that there is no evidence, there is no money trail, there is... yet, one after the other, all of these people were arrested. They were arrested under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, in which it's virtually impossible to get bail. So, of course, it did have an impact. In terms of, yes, of course, it had an impact on slowing down the work that happens in Delhi. But I do believe that the people of Delhi have a lot of faith, more than in Aam Aadmi Party, in Arvind Kejriwal. And that is what I believe is going to bring us back to power again.
Atishi, but the truth now is that, all your leaders, the entire leadership is out.
Yeah.
No one remains in
Yes.
custody in the excise policy case. You have had to change your campaign, direction a little bit, because initially and those were early days. It was about Kejriwal being in jail and, the unfairness of it. And now, just today, it's been announced that Mr. Kejriwal will be, he's just announced a Revdi Pe Charcha campaign in the city. So, does that change in how you are, looking at it, moving it perhaps away from Mr. Kejriwal? Does that also indicate that there is, yes, he's a very popular leader, but there is more that the Aam Aadmi Party now needs to do to get those people back and get those people to vote for the Aam Aadmi Party?
I don't know if you have seen our billboard campaign around Delhi. Our billboard campaign is themed Fir Layenge Kejriwal. So, yes, the campaign for Aam Aadmi Party's elections is definitely centered around Arvind Kejriwal. Why this Revdi par Charcha? Right? Because one of the criticisms we face, this is one thing that the BJP really attacks us on and says again and again, Kejriwal free ki Revdi baanta hai. Kejriwal free ki Revdi baanta hai. So in some ways we are taking that head on. जैसे कहते हैं ना, हम चौड़े होके कह रहे हैं कि हाँ हम रेवड़ी बांटते हैं, right? Yes, but this is a fact that yes, we do give free electricity. We do give 24-hour electricity. We do give high quality education in government schools free. We do give free treatment in our mohalla clinics. Bus rides for women are free, and Teerth Yatras for elderly are free. And the fact is that it does make a difference to the lives of ordinary people. Now, if you were to see the number of women who travel in buses, I think the number daily used to be around 4 or 5 lakhs 5 years ago when we introduced free bus tickets, when we introduced the pink tickets. Today, 11 lakh women travel in DTC buses every day. So what has this free bus ticket done? This free bus ticket basically has given an opportunity to a group that was very clearly marginalized, a group that these women would not have stepped out of their homes. Maybe these young girls who had possibly a college admission or wanted to go to study somewhere that was far from their homes, and their parents weren't willing to pay for their travel. These women who may be working in small jobs as domestic workers would not want to travel very much because the cost of travel would mean that the amount of salary they get, it would stop being economically feasible. But now they can. A young girl can go and go to her college, an older woman can find employment, and I have just met so many women who say कि अब हम घूमने जा सकते हैं, right? They don't have to ask anyone for money. Now, is it a problem to give a freebie? I think that in fact, far from being a problem, I think it has empowered the women in Delhi. Right? I also feel that a lot of our policies, what are called freebies or what are called revdies, etc., are very carefully crafted. And carefully crafted in ways to give benefit to the people who need it the most. And so yes, मतलब बिल्कुल हम खुल के कह रहे हैं कि हम रेवड़ी देते हैं और हम रेवड़ी देते रहेंगे. And I think the people of Delhi would also want that to continue. I think they have no doubt in their minds. For a lower middle class family, free electricity, free water, the fact that they can send their children to a government school or get admission under EWS, the fact that for small ailments like viral fever, they don't have to spend a couple of ₹1,000 a month, the fact that a woman can travel for free. Thousands of rupees every month get saved by every family. Why would they not want that?
Mr. Kejriwal also today termed it the 7th free ki revdi, the 1,000 Saman.
Yes.
How important do you think of an impact will it have for you in the elections? And about the timing also, why today and why not earlier? It's a revdi after all.
Well, I think at different points of time, different policies are brought in. Why today? We had announced it in the budget right in February when I presented the budget in the assembly. But a good part of this year has gone by with Mr. Kejriwal being in jail, therefore Aam Aadmi Party being pushed into a corner. We have been able to revive our governance agenda and push on our governance after all Aam Aadmi Party leaders have come out of jail, right? Otherwise, we were also caught very much in this day-to-day legal battle. And I would say we were definitely caught in a battle for survival.
You spoke about Punjab's fire count in farms coming down. However, the jury is still out, I would say, because I'm sure you are seized of the fact that there is a debate going on regarding the undercount of fire incidents in Punjab.
My question though is like
I'll let you complete that question, please.
But I have a very I'll answer your question later.
Right.
This theory going around that Punjab farmers burn their stubble after the NASA satellite has gone is the reason it's peculiar is because why just Punjab farmers? Why not Haryana farmers? Why not Madhya Pradesh farmers?
No,
Why
all
not
farmers,
Rajasthan
not
farmers?
just Punjab, all farmers.
Yeah. So by virtue of that fact, so if all farmers are burning their stubble after the NASA satellite has gone, then whatever data government of India is giving, it's 2x of that, it's 3x of that. Why is it being assumed that only Punjab farmers are burning their stubble after NASA satellite, right? So if today Punjab data shows that it is less than Madhya Pradesh, even if it is 0.5x as claimed, I'm sure even Madhya Pradesh is 0.5x of whatever is being said. But please, go ahead.
No, one of the things about AAP, at least in the initial years, was USP was not politics as usual. There was sort of fatigue with how things were going, and it was almost an antidote or presented as one. Now, we see the sort of leaders going, other leaders coming, not of course on the scale you see it in some other places. Except, do you think that does something for the notion of your party as being somewhat different? That it is now also another political party. We're doing politics as usual.
What's your name?
Akash.
Akash, I am the Chief Minister of Delhi. I'm a 43-year-old woman from no political background. If I was in any other political party, I can bet on the fact in any other political party I would not even get a ticket to contest an election. I mean, I know women in so many other political parties. I remember when I first contested the parliamentary election in 2019. Some senior women leaders in other political parties asked me, how difficult was it for you to get a ticket? And they would not believe me when I said, कि मैंने तो मांगा नहीं था, मुझे तो मेरी पार्टी ने ऑफर किया था कि you should contest an election. Someone like me, I don't come from a political background. My father is not an MP, my nana is not a governor of any state. I don't come from a family of wealth. I come from a very normal middle class family. I don't have any vote bank behind me. It is only in Aam Aadmi Party that me or people like me have been given space in mainstream electoral politics. We are not just what are called sort of backroom people sitting and doing research for the people who are doing real politics. Right? Not only have we been given space, people like me are in the leadership of this party. The fact is that someone like me with as I said, coming from no political background, at 43 years of age, Aam Aadmi Party has made me the Chief Minister of Delhi. So it is definitely a party that is not going with conventional calculations and just conventional real politics. If you were to ask me, yes, do people come to our party from other political parties? Yes, they do. But I think that there is always going to be a churn in politics. Do we expect that sort of us, the 10, 12 sort of people in the core team of Aam Aadmi Party, are we the only sort of people with political gyan and wisdom, etc.? I think that would also be a bit arrogant to assume that. Second, one of the things that I've realized is there's a lot of people even in regular mainstream political parties who have very strong ground connect with people. And at the end of the day, that is one of the things that matters the most.
I'm asking a follow-up to the first one
before the second question.
Before the second question. I'm sorry. What you said, cynics would say to that, is that it is also because AAP was a political startup.
Yeah.
Lalu Prasad was a student leader who was chief minister at a fairly young age at a time when OBCs, especially lower OBCs, were not getting chances. Right? Because post-emergency, or during the emergency, that was a political startup of its time. So the idea is that from that startup energy phase, do you see this being maintained 10 years from now, 20 years from now, if we see a dilution in some sense, or the perception of a dilution already?
I will just add to Akash's question because it's completely. So, you're talking about people like you. But the question is not about people like you. It's about people who are being inducted into the party, who the party actually stood against and has actually publicly made statements again, being inducted into the party and being made candidates for the election. So does that mean that winnability and of a person takes precedence over, let's say, the track record or the honesty and the anti-corruption plank that you started from?
See, of course, winnability matters. Are we contesting elections as a pastime? No. We are contesting elections to win the elections and form the government. Because only when we form the government can we do the work that we do. If I am not in power, if I am not in the government of Delhi, I cannot improve the government schools of Delhi. If I am not in government, I cannot provide free healthcare to the people of Delhi. If I am not in government, then I cannot provide facilities to the people of the city. So we are contesting as a party to win elections. We are not contesting because we enjoy contesting elections. So yes, of course, winnability matters. But if you were to look at Aam Aadmi Party, one of the things that matters a lot to us, as I said, is the connect that people have on the ground. And number two, just because someone has been with Aam Aadmi Party for, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years, or they might be part of the original group of people, does not also necessarily mean that they are all of this. I mean, people can become corrupt. People can become disconnected from the people who voted them into power. So I think for us also to assume कि जी हमने जो अन्ना के ज़माने से शुरू किया था हम ही हमें और हम ही सबसे अच्छे हैं, I said that is also but I think there are good people everywhere. I think there are, so I think that we would always keep our doors open for people.
And Atishi, sorry, so I give it back to Akash, but since we're on the topic of people connect, so I'll ask a follow-up to that. आपने कहा कि आम आदमी कनेक्ट है पार्टी का, कैलाश गहलोत who recently quit, and in the interview given to us, he did say that Arvind Kejriwal is not an Aam Aadmi anymore, and he spoke about how that whole Shishmehal controversy really did sort of dent the party's Aam Aadmi image. So we can get your comment on that.
See, BJP has made many attempts in the last 10 years to break leaders from our party. Everything has been offered, from money to plum political positions. And it's always a carrot and a stick. Okay, if you do come with us, we will make you the CM face of Delhi. We will give you X, Y. And if you don't come with us, then you're going to face the wrath of agencies. When Manish Sisodia was in jail for 17 months, he was made multiple offers by the BJP. He was made multiple offers when he was in Tihar by people who came to meet him there. Offers were made to people in his family. And all that they said repeatedly, कि मनीष जी बीजेपी में आ जाए, तुरंत बाहर निकल आएंगे. See, the fact is not everyone can have the strength or the moral courage of a Manish Sisodia. Not everyone can have the courage of a Satyendra Jain, who was in jail for 2 years, faced such severe ill health, needed a spinal surgery which he did not get for almost 18 months more than when he had needed it, who lost more than 30 kgs of weight, and yet stood by his party. So the modus operandi of Bharatiya Janata Party is very clear. And it's not just as far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, their modus operandi is clear as far as all parties are concerned. That you have leaders, allegations are made against them, CBI, ED, ACB, police is sent after them. They join the BJP, all the allegations magically disappear. There were ED raids, IT raids at Mr. Kailash Gehlot's residence, sometimes more than one agency at a time raiding his residence, his family members, his relatives' residence. This has been happening for months. So, when he leaves Aam Aadmi Party, we also know why he has left. But now that he's gone into the BJP, he does have to read out whatever script that they are giving to him. Second question.
Second and last. What you said about Mr. Kejriwal almost being greater than the party when it comes to a campaign. I may have meant that rhetorically, but I want to ask you seriously. Also, given you've done that thing of holding the CM's chair for him, that do you think he as a person is bigger than the party one, and perhaps even the chief ministership of Delhi is in office?
See, the thing is that, as I said, the people of Delhi have a very strong connect to an Arvind Kejriwal. And it is not just as a chief minister, as a political leader. If you were to see the way they talk about him, or if you were to see the way they interact with him, they regard him as one of their own. But I've often heard, especially like elderly women and elderly men and women saying, Kejriwal mera beta hai. Now this kind of connect for people to feel, there is definitely a special relationship that he does have. And yes, of course his face matters. People want to vote for Arvind Kejriwal. And I think that popularity cannot be denied. Maybe that popularity doesn't fit into our frameworks of politics, how it should be done, what is the right or the wrong way of doing it. But the fact is that that connect exists. And I think sometimes if you were to, go and see his Padyatras, for example, the way people interact with him, they don't feel that distance they would to someone who is a big politician. Otherwise, people are in awe of politicians. They are a bit scared of them. They feel कि जी हम छोटे हैं वो बड़े हैं. If you want to see their interaction with an Arvind Kejriwal, they feel ये हमारा अपना है. So that they feel confident. I mean, I have seen, I remember we used to, when these Tirth Yatra trains would go, we would go to see off the people who were going for the Tirth Yatra. I've seen these 70, 80-year-old women catch hold of him by his arm and not let go till they've had their selfie with him. Now for people to feel that kind of confidence, for someone who's a chief minister, for someone who is one of the country's most well-known faces, reflects a different relationship.
But has that impression been dented by this constant allegation when you look at his house and these bills that are circulated right from the bathroom to the curtains? So the fact that and it is the first thing that Mr. Gehlot says when he goes, and Mr. Gehlot has been with you guys for a while, so it's not that he doesn't have the moral superiority to say these things. He's been a close aide, he's been a core person in your team. So you're saying that this doesn't dent that impression at all?
So two things, as I said, as far as Mr. Gehlot is concerned, definitely once he's gone into the BJP, he is going to say what the BJP asks him to say. Just as Mr. Ajit Pawar says what the BJP asks him to say, just as Praful Patel is going to say what the BJP line is, just as Hemant Biswa Sarma is going to say what the BJP line is, just as Shubhendu Adhikari, once in the BJP, is going to speak against the Trinamool Congress where he has come from. So I don't think Kailash Gehlot ji saying anything which is the BJP's line is very unexpected. As far as what the people think, I think that the Aam Aadmi of this country is far more sensible than we think. I think that they are able to see through a lot of propaganda, a lot of things that are talked about and get to the core of the matter. I think that India's political history, India's electoral history also shows that a lot of pomp and show and a lot of noise that occupies airwaves is not necessarily the way in which an ordinary person decides when they go to cast their vote. So I think what people think will be clear when we go for polls in February.
Okay, and just one more thing, down to something that does affect people. So when the MCD, the AAP came to power, there was expectation that there would be cohesion in how the government and the MCD work together. But in our conversations with people, and we have done these longer stories, be it the state of roads, the state of street lights, the state of parks, it is in shambles. And when we speak to councillors, both on and off record, they blame a fund crunch. The usual rhetoric is blaming the LG that he is talking these things. But as a party that is supposed to make a change on the ground, when you see the fact that the MCD arguably has performed worse than the previous BJP ruled MCD, does that not affect at least the ground level sentiments?
See, first of all, I would say that the MCD that we have inherited is definitely in a state of crisis. There is no doubt about that. We have inherited an MCD which is absolutely bankrupt, whose budget and whose expenses are at least 1.5 times its resources. But if you want to see MCD, I would strongly disagree with the statement that it's run worse, because if you were to remember MCD of the BJP years, every 3 months there would be a sanitation worker strike because they were not getting paid. Especially in East Delhi, there would be garbage across the streets of Delhi. And it would happen routinely. It would not happen once or twice or whatever in a few years. It would routinely happen. Ever since Aam Aadmi Party has come to power in the MCD, have the sanitation workers ever gone on strike? No. For the first time in the history, I think of almost the last 20-25 years of MCD, their sanitation workers are getting paid on the 1st of every month. Yes, of course there are challenges. As I said, that we have inherited a municipal corporation that is, essentially that is bankrupt, and reviving that, yes, is taking time. But I think that I would say that people have elected us for a 5-year tenure as far as the municipal corporation is concerned. And I think we would be best judged at the end of the 5 years.
Anti-incumbency is a factor when it comes to your factoring this in, when you are in your campaign and your candidates selection, I also wanted to know whether we would be seeing the senior leaders of party, not you, changing the constituencies in this election.
So as far as candidates are concerned, when you're asking about anti-incumbency, what people think, right from the beginning, our party has been very clear that we take a lot of feedback from the ground. Yes, I know that all parties say कि हम survey करके ticket देते हैं, पर हम actually survey करके ticket देते हैं, because that is really our only way of knowing. You have to realize that the information flow in political parties, information that comes to the leadership via the party structure will not always be accurate. Because no one wants to be, for example, if there is a problem on the ground, or if there is some area where people are unhappy, no one wants to bring the bad news, because they are worried that it's a messenger who will sort of get shot down. Which is why I feel, in fact, why it is extremely important for political parties and its leaders to be connected to the ground, to have multiple sources of feedback apart from just your own party network. So yes, that is definitely going to affect our candidate choice, our ticket selection. In fact, in 2020 also, for such reasons of local anti-incumbency or the MLA not having attended to people's concerns, grievances, we did, I think even 16, 18 or so of our sitting MLAs were dropped, new people were given tickets.
Yeah, it is not a full state.
Yeah.
We have, two power centers here. Would you tell us how powerless Chief Minister of Delhi is compared to other states? And we have a similar experiment in J&K now.
Yeah.
So if you have to tell 3 things to Umar Abdullah, because he's also dealing with the same center, what would they be?
Well, I do hope that the central government doesn't go after Omar Abdullah the same way that they've gone after Aam Aadmi Party. So yes, definitely Delhi has its challenges. Delhi has its challenges because it is a divided, you have power that is divided between the center and the state. 2 major areas, which is land and police, lie with the central government. So in terms of the city's development, availability of land, what you can do with that lies number 1 with the central government. But I feel a bigger one as far as Delhi is concerned is law and order. And law and order, especially currently, is something that is going out of hand in Delhi these days. Headlines in Delhi remind me of those 90s Bombay underworld days. कि इस शॉपकीपर को धमकी दे के गोली मार दी, बर्गर किंग में गोली चल गई, टोयोटा के शोरूम के बाहर गोली चल गई, kind of thing. So yes, of course, ideally, if Delhi was a full state, the government would be able to control the law and order situation. I think there's a fundamental problem with the central government controlling all of law and order in Delhi is that the Home Minister who has to control, and this is not about the fact that it's a BJP Home Minister. By its very nature, someone who has to look after the affairs right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Assam to Gujarat, will only be able to pay that much attention to, I don't know, if drugs are being sold in Govindpuri, if there is Nangloi, sort of liquor is being illegally sold. This is really the bread and butter of a state government. To be able to look at this, it is the job of the central government to be looking at national security issues, which is what the Home Ministry should be doing. So yes, I do, but I definitely feel that there is a strong case to be made out for statehood for Delhi. And in fact, when right after the Supreme Court order that gave powers to the Delhi government, and then the centre 8 days later snatched them away with an ordinance, there was an op-ed I had read in some newspaper that some lawyer had written, which I thought was a very unique idea. They said that maybe Lutyens Delhi or New Delhi can be carved out as a union territory where you have all institutions of national importance. But the rest of the 3 crore people who inhabit this city do deserve a full-fledged government. For example, a person who lives in Narela just wants day-to-day security for when they step out of their house. And that is not being provided. So I definitely feel that this is number 1, this is a challenge. Number two, I also feel that as far as the Aam Aadmi Party government goes in Delhi, the central government has been very insecure of us. And I think that is the reason why this onslaught has happened right from the word go, from when we formed the government in 2015, where we formed the government in February. In May, they came out with a notification taking away the power of services. Now, why do we repeatedly talk about this issue of services? Is because it's like saying, when we say that the bureaucrats, basically control over the bureaucrats is what services is all about. So if the bureaucrats who are supposed to be executing our directions might be taking directions from someone else, so we don't know what is actually going to get translated in terms of policy on the ground. What that has led to is the fact that in the last 10 years, I believe, much more work could have been done if this constant onslaught hadn't been there from the central BJP government towards the Delhi government. So for everything that we have done, even every small policy becomes a big battle. I don't know if you remember, but 5-7 years back, to get CCTV cameras installed across Delhi, Arvind Kejriwal, Manish Sisodia, Gopal Rai and Satyendra Jain did a sit-in dharna inside the LG's house. And that is how they got the file of CCTV cameras cleared. Now, to anyone who does not understand politics in Delhi, this is just bizarre. It's the government who wants to make a decision. We have the money, we have the resources. The LG refuses to sign the file. So, all of these things, work has been done. It has been done just with far more effort than it would have been required. So, for every policy we have had to implement, the ladna, jhagadna, alag-alag tarike se trying to get it done. So I think that if Delhi was to be a full state, I think the quality of life of the people of Delhi would improve. And I don't just say this because I'm the Chief Minister of Delhi and my party is in power. I think I would say this for any party that might be in power, that if you do have a democratically elected government, a democratically elected government represents the mandate of the people. And I think that mandate needs to be respected, and a democratically elected government, be it in Delhi or Jammu Kashmir or anywhere in the country, does need to be given its power.